Hi there, YouTube. Hi there, Facebook. I am coming on live today to test the whole going live with two different devices thing and to bring you a really beautiful topic of why microdosing psychedelics plus breath work, both of things together, is such a powerful combination for your healing. I've got some points to share with you that will hopefully give you some food for thought on your own journey. Welcome. So glad you're here. I'm live on YouTube as well. Maybe someone can go over to my YouTube channel and tell me if they can see me. We've got people here on Instagram waiting to see if YouTube is good to go and just trusting that this message is going to be what it needs to be for you, for me, and for the greater community of self-healers here who are, I see you doing the work, right? It's not easy work to do this work, and you're doing the work. So just like give yourself a little pat on the back, whether you're here live or you're watching this after the fact, for doing the work. And let's dive in. All right. So first of all, if you're new to me, I have tons of new followers. Actually, it's been really exciting to grow the brand. Hi, my name is Rihanna, or Rye. Most people call me Rye, like the bread or the whiskey, which I don't eat or drink by choice and by way of my gut telling me it's a no-go. I am a guide for your healing. I've been guiding myself through my own healing for 43 years, but really intentionally for the last 10 years, microdosing for the last 5 years, using breath work for the last year and a half. And I can honestly say that both psychedelics used with intention and breath work are easily the two most powerful modalities I have ever worked with personally and as offerings to you. So, thank you for allowing me to be your guide. Thank you, honey, who just informed me that I am indeed live on YouTube. Hello. Leave a comment on YouTube for me, babe, so I can see that come through. And I want to talk about first how these practices of microdosing and breathwork are so much alike, where they overlap with each other. And then I'll end with how they are different and complement each other. So first of all, if you don't know, microdosing is the practice of taking tiny doses of psychedelics to have a sub-perceptual, a non-psychedelic experience of being slightly shifted, a little more open, available for more of life, less constricted and contracted. Yes, I help people microdose psilocybin mushrooms with intention. And what is breath work? If you're new to this, breath work, some people will say, well, I know what breath work is. I do my breathing, right? And really, breath work is very simply working the breath. A little different from your yoga breathing, which may be more structured and slower, alternate nostril breathing, right? Pranayama, beautiful, have practiced that for many years. The style of breathwork that I practice is a real intentional movement of air in kind of a messier fashion than your pranayama. You can't do it wrong. You just move the air and hold your breath. People all over the world are practicing breathwork now, and it used to be this kind of secret thing that was reserved for the monks, right, and the people with power and spiritual institutions, because it was recognized as such a powerful consciousness altering tool. It was kept from the masses as too dangerous, just like psychedelics have been classified as too dangerous and kept from the masses. And we're experiencing this resurgence of both psychedelics and breathwork for a very good reason, right? We are living in a time where we need to be able to expand our consciousness and be all of who we are. So welcome to a world where we have access to psychedelics and breathwork. I'm going to dive right in on how they are the same. Yay, comments on YouTube coming through. Please feel free, if you're watching live or if you're watching after the fact, to leave any comments or questions at all that you have about microdosing or breathwork, and I will answer them, promise. I love answering questions. It's like my favorite. Both microdosing and breathwork are intentional practices. This is how they are the same. They're both intentional practices. You are doing them on purpose, right? Nobody's just kind of accidentally taking a microdose or accidentally spending 20 minutes going unless you're having a panic attack. And that is a movement of air, but from a very different energy, from a dysregulated nervous system state, as opposed to from a regulated nervous system state. So you're doing these things intentionally. You're doing them on purpose. You are bringing an intention to it. If you've worked with me, you know how I feel about the sentence stem. Show me, show me. I want you to set an intention before you take your microdose, and I want you to set an intention before you drop into breath work every single time. This is what makes these practices effective in a lot of ways, right? If you're just throwing your microdose back with your coffee and your vitamin C and saying like, well, hope it does something, right? That's very different than connecting with the consciousness of the plant for a moment, feeling into a little bit of gratitude and asking the plant, crazy as it sounds, this plant has a consciousness, asking the plant, show me, show me. Psychedelics are revealing. Breath work is revealing. They're going to pull the curtain back. They're going to lift the lid off of, and they're going to allow you to see stuff that your ego's going, la, 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 don't want to see, don't want to know, right? And this happens for all of us. But the reason people become drawn to psychedelics and breath work is because it starts to dissolve that ego. And we are able to then see those things that we're keeping from ourselves, those things that we're most afraid of, those things that we don't want to acknowledge or don't feel ready to acknowledge truthfully in the nervous system state that we're in. But because both microdosing and breath work help us actually be present in our bodies and in our experiences, we are able to say, okay, show me. Show me what it looks like to have compassion. Show me what it feels like to parent from love. Show me what I need to know about my relationship to food. Pick the thing that you're struggling with, zone in on the wound, the spot where you're like, OMG, I wish this was different, and then ask the plant and ask the breath, show me. That's first. Both are intentional practices. Second, they both elicit a sensorial experience. So heightened sense of sound, heightened feelings of awareness, heightened sense of touch, smell, and even taste. Those of you who've microdosed before, chime in if you find this to be the case, but on a microdosing day, you might like cut into an orange and open it up and go like, wow, that's like a really pretty color, right? And I cut into an orange every day and I never stopped to notice the color, and I didn't have to make myself stop and I should meditate and I should be more present and I should notice the color of the orange. It just revealed itself to me, the beautiful color, and I was able to appreciate it for a moment, right? They both produce a more heightened sensory experience during a breathwork journey. Let me know if this resonates for you. Those of you who've done some intentional breathing, suddenly you are aware of the feeling of the air on your skin or the way that the ground is holding you up while you lie there breathing. You might be aware of the sensation and the discomfort of your chronic pain points growing bigger, right? This isn't always happy, sensory, good feelings, but we're moving energy here, and I'll get to that in a minute. And that experience of having more sensations running through you is common to both practices and safe. This is how it's supposed to go. Don't worry. So that heightened sensory experience is a way to start feeling more comfortable with the sensory experience you're having in the day-to-day that you might be going like, oh, la, 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 don't want to have, right? Oh, I am safe to feel surges of energy. I am safe to feel emotions. I'm safe to have this kind of sense of knowing coming through me. I'm safe to have some visuals, to see some stuff. Now, on a microdose, you're not going to have necessarily fractals and visuals like you would with a full psychedelic dose of mushrooms. And it is possible to have some, especially if you're microdosing and using breath work on the same day in the same couple of hours, to have behind closed eyes some movement, some patterns, and some sight, some third eye opening awareness, right? Oh, I see clearly what my next steps are for this thing that I've been struggling with. Or I just know that I have to go talk to this person, right? We're getting clear downloads when we use these medicines. Third, how breathwork and microdosing are similar and why they're so powerful used together. They are both opening medicines. They are both expansive. This is what has made them illegal or hidden and labeled as dangerous, as I was saying earlier, because they are consciousness expanding, or rather consciousness shifting. I want to be clear here that you are in control the whole time with both a microdosing practice and a breathwork practice. I think when we hear about these, consciousness shifting experiences, it can get a little bit scary, right? Oh my gosh, I'm just kind of like going with whatever's going to happen to me, right? All this stuff is going to happen to me. Mm-mm. You are in control the whole time, and you decide at your level of comfort what's coming in, what you're releasing. You are aware the whole time. And I really emphasize that because there's a safety piece with this. So, with this opening, expansive, consciousness shifting experience that both of these medicines provide, it becomes a spiritual experience, right? You are not in your 3D reality chopping carrots for your kids' lunch. You are connected to something bigger than you, whether that's your God, right? What God, right? God is God is God, right? Or whatever teachers you follow, Jesus, Buddha, whether that's you believe that there are ancestors that you are connecting to and can feel their presence. Many people will say to me, I felt my grandmother with me, right? The grandmother that they were close to in their childhood, when they're in a breathwork experience. And it could just be your higher self that you feel yourself connected to, right? If the spiritual aspect of it is a turnoff or doesn't resonate with you. But there is this something else part to this experience. And that's the part that makes it magical. And that's the part that makes it transformative, right? When you can step into and own that you are having a spiritual experience when your consciousness is expanded, that's the transformation zone, right? Because in that space, you have so much support, so much support. There's some self-discovery that can come through in this consciousness expanding part of using both of these medicines. And you can develop a greater understanding of yourself, right? And when we understand ourselves better, we have more compassion for ourselves. Welcome if you're just joining. I'm talking about breathwork and microdosing, why they're so powerful together. Feel free to ask questions. So, moving on, I've got 2 or 3 more points here, but how are you feeling about the potential of combining or trying one of these 2 practices for your healing? Okay, moving on. Point number 4, how breathwork and microdosing are the same or similar. They both move energy. So inevitably, when someone starts microdosing, I will get a message that says, I don't know why, but I'm crying for no reason, right? I don't know why, but I'm super agitated on my microdosing days. There is energy and emotion that's locked and trapped in your nervous system. That's your trauma. That's what causes you to have a trigger, right? That and what is locked in the nervous system. And when you microdose, when you use breath work with intention in the way I'm describing it here, energy is going to move. Emotions are energy. So to the mom who says, wow, I feel really irritated with my kids on a microdosing day, this is not universal. This is some people. Everyone feels something different, truthfully. I would ask, right? What emotion, what energy is asking to be moved? What have you been suppressing, right? What is that anger really wanting to say? What needs to be seen? And with both of these medicines, they can help usher that emotion and energy out of the nervous system. That's what we want for healing. We want that energy moved, right? Not because it's bad or wrong, but energy doesn't belong locked and trapped in us, right? That's the stored trauma, the memory of the experience in the body. And if you want to move past your trauma triggers, if you want to be able to be in the presence of that family member without like losing your shit or getting pissed off or getting triggered in the first 90 seconds of being around them, you want to move energy out of your system. You want to move that stored, stuck, trapped emotion. So allowing the cry, allowing the anger, right? Many of us are really afraid of anger. And we think, like, well, no, that's bad, right? When in reality, what's wrong is when we hold it back, swallow it down, push it down, get it over here in a compartment. And oh, look, I have chronic shoulder pain, right? Because how much anger am I storing back here? So they move energy. This can be uncomfortable. This can be very uncomfortable for many of us, me included. I don't want to feel angry and rageful and right have to go like during a breathwork journey to move it out. And what is that sensation? Those of you that do breathwork, after you let that energy move, after you let the ugly cry out, after you go ha on my cue, after you shake out your hands from that weird crampy thing that's happening, what happens after that? There's space. There's space for you to fill up with more of you, for you to fill up with your intentions for your healing. You can't heal if you don't have space for what you want. It's like saying, I really need a new wardrobe. I want a new wardrobe. Everything will be different if I have a new wardrobe. And you open up your closet door and literally jammed to the door, jammed with old, smelly, outdated, out of style clothes that don't fit, right? And you're looking at me going, well, I just see this wardrobe is a problem. I need a new wardrobe. What do you got to do first? You got to clean that shit out. You always have to make space. You must release if you want to receive. You can relieve yourself too. Okay, so moving energy and emotions, being in the discomfort of that. Look, I want to say something here, and this is a constant with clients. This comes up constantly. Just because it's uncomfortable or messy doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. We really have this idea that like, oh, today's a messy day. I'm like going backwards in my healing. That's actually a pretty good indication that you're doing some really good healing work. Integration is messy. Letting the healing settle into your system is messy. Letting go of the old crap is messy. And in fact, when you're like at the precipice of releasing some really old crap, when you're right there, when you're like, oh my gosh, this thing I've been working on for so long, I'm like, I can taste it, right? It's so close. As it's releasing, you're going to have a massive flare up of all the old shit, all the old stories, like it was 10 years ago, coming rushing back. And a lot of people will say, I don't know what I did wrong, right? I don't know what I did wrong. Help me. Something's going backwards. You're not going backwards. You're purging. It's coming out and it's uncomfortable and it's messy. And your work is to allow it. Nick says, the feeling of relief is what I experience after breath work. Yes. Okay. Final point for how breath work and psychedelics are similar. They are both extremely effective treatments for grief, loss, trauma, depression, anxiety, PTSD, PMDD, OCD, ADD, all the ones that have a D at the end, that stands for disorder, right? Yeah, breathwork and microdosing can help bring resolution and healing too. Can maybe even help you reframe your disorder into the gift that it is. That doesn't mean you have to accept the uncomfortable symptoms that come with it. I'm constantly amazed at how differently my brain and my body are working with both of these medicines in my system and how much growth happens almost every day by using these medicines. And the physical plane too, guys, headaches. Do you know psychedelics are being studied for their impact on cluster headaches, on inflammation, on autoimmunity, on physical chronic pain? It's amazing what this is a treatment for. Considered a cure for eating disorders and autism, Asperger's in some countries. How exciting are these medicines, right? So in this way, they are also amazing tools for enhancing communication and improving interpersonal relationships. And this is, I mean, relationships to me is like one of the hardest parts of being a human. Hi, honey, my husband's on here. It's just hard to have relationships. Maybe everyone doesn't feel this way, but put me in a vacuum, right, with just me and my stuff, and let me do my healing and my work all by myself, which we know is not possible. We need each other, right? And the lie is that that would be so much easier if I didn't have to deal with other people. And the fact of the matter is, we need other people to heal, and being in relation with other people is challenging, isn't it? If we want to do it in an open, expansive, loving way, it's challenging. So these medicines both invite us to improve our relationships and our communication. They invite us to be able to say in those triggered moments, I'm sorry, how can we improve this thing so we're not having the same conversation again tomorrow, right? How can we seek solutions for what we're experiencing instead of focusing on the problem? So those are all the ways that breathwork and microdosing, or psychedelics and breathwork as medicines, as practices in your daily life, are the same, are complementary, both work in the same way. And here's the clincher. Here's the really neat part. They are both working in different ways in your body. The microdosing is working on your brain first. Download my free microdosing course on my website if you want more of the science behind what it's actually doing and how it's repatterning and the different parts of your brain that are now connecting because there's a teeny tiny bit of psychedelics in there. Fascinating. So they are a top down treatment. They start at the brain and then they trickle down to the body. So there's a repatterning happening up here. And then all of a sudden, if you're integrating, if you're using other modalities, and I'll talk about that in a second, you can have the repatterning that's happening up here be felt down here in the body. So, oh, on that microdosing day, I can feel my feet on the ground while my big kid is yelling at me. And I normally would be triggered, but like I can stand there and take a deep breath and say, I see you. You're hurting. Here's the cool part. Breath work is working from the bottom, the body shifting the energy up. It's considered a bottom up treatment, whereas microdosing is a top down treatment. So this is what's so exciting, you guys. Combining the two, when I work with someone who is willing to do both, top down, here's microdosing, repatterning the brain to repatterning the body. And here's the breath work, repatterning the body to repattern the brain. Oh, hello. Hello, complete approach to healing. Right? You need both. You can't do just mindset work. Can't talk yourself out of the sensations your body is having when you're triggered. And you can't just do body work and ignore what's happening up here. You need both. And that's why the combination is so incredibly powerful and why I want to invite you into my container to experience both. So 2 totally free opportunities to go deeper with either one of these modalities. And I will post the links to these after I'm done being live on the various platforms. First, I have an upcoming free challenge, Hope for Healing. It's happening Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of this week, going live on Instagram and YouTube, just like I am right now. But I want you to sign up so that you can get the alerts, be eligible to win the full-size bottle of full spectrum CBD that I'm giving away, and a 100% scholarship to my 5-week breathwork experience starting on May 2nd. So please visit the links to sign up for the Hope for Healing Challenge and breathe with me for 3 days. Feel for yourself what happens. We're going to spend 15 minutes each day breathing. I'll do some teaching and preaching and talking just like this ahead of time. And then you get to drop into this powerful embodiment practice to feel for yourself what it shifts, to feel those sensations that I talked about, to have that heightened experience, to be safe, to expand your consciousness and be in control the whole time. Second free opportunity, I have a microdosing Q&A coming up. This is a Zoom private classroom opportunity. Visit the link in my bio if you're on Instagram, or the link below this video if you're on YouTube, to sign up for that totally free microdosing Q&A happening next week, April 28th. I would love to have you there in the evening. I want to answer all your microdosing questions. And if you want to take the next step and chat with me to see whether I am a match to be your guide for microdosing, just reach out to me. I would love to support you. Thank you so much for being here, for being a part of this live stream. It looks like I'll be able to go live on both platforms on Friday, the first day of the challenge. If you're watching this, please sign up for the Hope for Healing Challenge. I would love to have you there. It's going to be a really beautiful community class and drop into the breath. It will give you an opportunity to decide, is the 5-week deep dive right for me? Am I ready to do 60 minutes of breath work with Rye every week in the breathwork experience? I don't know. Come to the Hope for Healing Challenge and taste breathwork for yourself. If you are actively microdosing right now, please make the Hope for Healing challenge days your microdosing days so you can experience that top down and bottom up impact of combining microdosing and breathwork for your body and mind to both heal simultaneously. Please do let me know if you have any questions. I'm so happy to have you in the community, and keep breathing, right? Keep moving forward. Messy doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. Healing is always messy. So let's take 3 breaths together, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Making your exhale nice and long. Last one. And just take a moment and notice how even 3 breaths can help you shift. Thank you for being here today. Love you guys.